Hello, everyone. 5 minutes. I can talk. Yeah, it is mine. So yeah, my name is Max. I'm from HODL, and today's talk is Bitcoin multisig is good, and you should feel good about it. We are famous for, like our project is famous for multisigs. You need something. No, there it is. Yes. Yeah, perfect. So, won't take your time too much. Next slide. So, we truly believe in HODL that actually, well, the killer app for Bitcoin is actually Bitcoin itself. But the problem is that many people are too excited or they want to raise money. They're building a lot of nonsense stuff on Bitcoin, which is of course good, but you don't need to forget about the core technologies that are there. And actually multisig is one of the core technologies within the Bitcoin that was forgotten, and it's actually not used pretty widely. Well, it is used in some wallets. We have multisig wallets, but most of the time that's it. We have few exchanges that use multisig. One of them is BISC, one of them is HODL, and most of the time that's it. But there's actually a much broader possibility for multisig, especially with the real-world use cases, which we believe could lead to mass adoption to some extent of BTC. Next slide. Before we go into that, let me very quickly remind you, and I'm sorry for those who are familiar with the concept of multisig, how it actually works. So instead of giving you a broader definition, I will just show you a use case that we use within our project. So as you can see on the slide, there are three parties: Alice, Bob, and Exchange. They all of them have keys. This is 2 out of 3 multisig. And in order to release Bitcoins that are locked into multisig contract, you need to use at least 2. That's why it's called 2 out of 3 actually. So in essence, this address actually is becoming, which is widely known in the real world as an escrow. You know, there's a banking escrow, there's different type of escrow. So it doesn't matter who sent the funds to this address. The important part is that only 3 parties have access to this account, and only 2 out of 3 of these parties can actually move funds from this account. It is also important to know that it's a 2 out of 3, but you can actually use more signatures. You can use 5 out of 10, you can use 3 out of 7. So basically, in generic terms, it's called N out of M multi-signature or signatures. However, there's currently a limitation on how many keys it is possible to generate and to have, but with the Schnorr signatures, there will be a bigger amount to use. Next slide. So on our platform, we use escrow to exchange fiat into Bitcoin or Bitcoin into fiat. And it doesn't take a lot of imagination to understand how the very same 2 out of 3 system actually works and can be used in real-world use cases. Next. So the general workflow actually of like trading BTC via multisig is pretty simple, and I want to touch upon this as well. So first, both parties agree on the terms. It can be illegal terms, it cannot be illegal terms, doesn't matter. So both parties would then lock BTC deposits into multisig escrow account. Next. So in that case, contract is already in progress. So when they fulfill the obligations, they sign the release transaction, and then the buyer or the seller, in case something goes wrong, get paid. So getting paid might be happening both in Bitcoin or in any other currency, as it might be a separate step from releasing deposits. Next one. And before we go into other use cases, I would like to discuss why multisig would even be valuable to potential users and how it can create a very vibrant and rather distinct economic of its own. Because as we have learned through the years, nobody will use Bitcoin just because it's cool and it's Bitcoin. So you need to present something simple, interesting, and unique to the people, in our case, to people outside the crypto community. So what are the pains that actually multisig can solve? First, borderless contracts. Now, if counterparties live in different countries and additionally only have deals on the internet, it would be next to impossible to enforce anything. With multisig, you can do that. The risks are really high, but well, whatever, usually if you don't use the tag, so whatever you write down on a piece of paper is just that, a piece of paper. Next one. If there's a dispute, the question is who is going to resolve it. So going to the court, hiring the lawyers, especially it's a different country, different legal system, takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and what's more important, takes a lot of money and funds to fund this court case. Next one. Well, speed. Actually, you cannot beat the internet at the speed. So in case of disputes, dealing with the current legal system is slow and ineffective. In many cases, it's a nightmare. For example, look at the Mt. Gox case. It's been 5 years and creditors still haven't got their money back. Actually, it's been already 6 years. Even there's no disputes, it's so much faster to create a contract online in minutes following the standardized procedures rather than hire lawyers and approving everything with them. Now, another interesting use of multisig is actually legally avoiding the sanctions. Like, for example, it's a touchy subject, but there's clearly a demand for absolutely legal trades and contracts from people living in sanctioned countries. It is often the case that two counterparties from countries that are on some kind of sanctions cannot trade with each other because the banks that serves in this case as an intermediary is just blocking the payments from one country to another. Next one. Now let's talk about the potential use cases for multisig that doesn't exist. We cannot literally within our team build all the potential use cases and create all the potential stuff that can be used by multisig, but we encourage you to do that and feel free to steal some ideas. So the first use case is actually freelancers. So you have a freelancer in India and you are in Europe. You want to pay him, he wants to do the job, but you don't trust each other. So instead of like using conventional financial system, figure it out how it will be, you just lock in Bitcoin and multisig, he sees that you have money, he do the jobs, and then you release coins to him. Another use case is shipping goods. There have been some examples of shipping goods actually before that, and I know that Bitcoin was used in some of them, but actually still somehow we don't have that much broader use for shipping goods and using multisig in that case. Another one is actually raising the capital or funding. Well, we can agree at this point already, everyone, that ICO, it's a sad story, and actually probably safe to say already that it have failed massively. So ICOs will clearly a way to redistribute Bitcoins from gullible hodlers to some scammers. Yet the idea of being funded via crypto or via BTC from anywhere in the world online without going through legal procedures is still very exciting. So imagine you have a platform similar to HODL, but instead of the buying and selling BTC, you're just funding projects that you like. So for instance, you can lock part of your money in BTC escrow account and invest it like this in any projects that you like. Month goes by, the team coming to you and saying, showing the progress on their project, and then you decide whether you want to unlock the rest of a month or no. And you can actually distribute these funds like for months, for years, for whatever you can do. Now, the next one, our CTO loves this, I don't know why, the marriage contracts. He's not married, by the way. It's an interesting application for Bitcoin. Most people probably don't think about it. So, firstly, because the marriage contracts are pretty much figured out in the West, but there's a country, specifically in the East, where women are a lot less protected by the legal system, or men are a lot less protected by the legal system. And secondly, it's basically worth nothing that legal systems are designed to suck money out of ex-partners and just to fund lawyers. Well, Bitcoin actually can completely reinvent this system. So a solution can probably be devised where a contract is crafted in plain English, stating the conditions and including multiple trustees or mediators from the future husband and wife that they agree upon. So if divorce comes, they just solve this issue and one of the parts or both parts receive their BTC. Next one is actually will and inheritance. Bitcoin pretty much exists now outside the scope of the legal system. So applying this system to transferring Bitcoins as part of the person's will seems not only illogical but also widely unreliable. Well, multisig can offer a good solution here as well, but of course, since the funds are being inherited, are not expected to be moved for a long time, we're probably not talking about the online platform offering multisig for your will and inheritance. But it could be a use case. The next one is predictions. So basically, you can use Bitcoin multisig to fund a contract where you're predicting that, for example, Liverpool is winning the next game and another side is predicting that it's losing. We have this service already available, but still you can create a massive amount of different type of services, peer-to-peer betting, whatever, with the multisig. Now, next use case is one of my favorites, actually gaming. Imagine you go online, you find a partner for a Counter-Strike game, and you want to play for money. In that case, for BTC. So, but you think that you will win, and he thinks that he will win. So you lock in like $10 or 10 euros. He locks in 10 euros. They're locked up in the multisig. You play the game, and the winner gets all, and the loser gets nothing. Next one. However, there are a few challenges that possess now within the multisig system. So first one is actually bad user experience. Well, we have this through our crypto community that literally crypto user experience unfortunately sucks in many ways now. But you know, improving the user experience with multisig will be much more better, and you can actually create a standalone platform where people will be able to gather simple yet clear instructions how to use multisig in a web-based manner, and they will be able to to add multisig as a payment options for their platform. Now, another one is Bitcoin volatility, of course. Well, this can be mitigated in various ways. One option is to use Bitcoin only as a collateral. For example, you lock in Bitcoin, but you pay with fiat. And another one, you can just lock in more Bitcoin, and towards when the contract expires, you can just take the rest of the Bitcoins to yourself and pay the rest to the guy who is doing the job. Now, third one is Lightning Network. Well, it's not a problem. However, yet Lightning Network in current implementation doesn't have multisig features, which would be really great because then it would have a non-custodial ways of using Lightning Network. I know that team is working hard to present this. I know that there are some ideas, and actually we're also working to present non-custodial Lightning Network escrow, but it's still far away to go. Thank you very much. That's it.